Our European football expert, Dougie Critchley, joins us now to preview tonight's Champions League games. But Dougie, we've first got to ask you about last night and your opinions on that thriller at Villa Park. I mean, just tell us your thoughts on what was a sensational night. I mean, one of our producers is a Villa fan, and he's not actually that mad this morning because of the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can see the energy that Clinton was giving it, and it deserved every bit of that energy. It was phenomenal. I mean, for Villa to come back from 5-1 down on aggregate through those goals from Tielemans and Konza and then McGinn as well. And they had so many opportunities to force extra time as well. Konza with that header from that amazing Rashford cross, some amazing saves from Donnarumma, from Tielemans and Rashford as well. And then the final moments as well, Pacho clearing it off the line from Maatsen. Villa can take so much heart from the way that they've not just beaten PSG, the most informed side in Europe, but gone unbeaten at home in this year's Champions League, beating Bayern Munich. And for a side that hadn't competed in the Champions League or the European Cup for over 40 years, to get to this stage was an amazing achievement for them. And they could have forced extra time. It was a really, really promising display from them.
Yes, it was.
Dougie, Arsenal and Real Madrid will obviously be focusing in on their tie tonight. But if Arsenal make it through, if they can get the job done, will they look maybe at that second half performance from PSG and think there's a chance?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think if you manage to control this PSG side in transition, which is easier said than done, when they can bring Barcola or Doué off the bench, and they've got Kavisha Kvaratskhelia and Ousmane Dembele too, I think you can get at this PSG side. Vitinha didn't have the same impact that he had in the first leg. In the first leg, he completed 148 passes, which was second to Xavi in a knockout game in Champions League history. But Villa effectively nullified him really well and then created a lot of danger in transition themselves. So I think Arsenal, if it was to be Arsenal or Real Madrid, can look at this PSG side that conceded 3.9 XG across 2 legs and think, you know, we can go at them too.
On Arsenal, they're taking that 3-0 lead that they secured last week to the Bernabéu tonight. What's the approach going to be against Real Madrid tonight? How's Mikel Arteta going to play this one?
I think, you know, sitting back and hoping for the best and going for a deep block isn't the way to go against the kings of momentum switches, against the side with the individual brilliance that they've got. I think they created so much danger in that first leg, you know, having 3 times as much XG, having 3 times as much touches in the opposition box as Real Madrid. I think you want to play relatively on the front foot while still being sensible. I mean, this is an Arsenal side that can rely on their defence. You know, only Inter Milan have conceded fewer goals than them. But actually, in their last 7 Champions League games, 3 of them, they've scored at least 3 goals. So I think you want to keep that initiative going, keep that momentum going as well. And they are now unbeaten in their last 9 games in all competitions, scoring in each of their last 8. So despite the changes and the difficulties they've had in terms of the availability of their forward players, at the moment there's the likes of Mikel Merino, who has scored more goals against Real Madrid than any other club in his career. There's Bukayo Saka, who's come back and just hasn't taken a single step back after missing 3 months. And there's Gabriel Martinelli, who, after a slowish start to the season and after a difficult last 18 months, finally looks back at those 22, 23 levels. So Arsenal, I want them to play a little bit more on the front foot than many people are expecting, because if you concede an early goal at the Bernabéu, it does funny things to teams. The momentum switches, the crowd gets up, and the ball is almost sucked into the goals. And it just can change in a 5-minute spell. As we've seen in these previous games last night, you know, no one saw Aston Villa coming back. No one saw Dortmund taking Barcelona to the cleaners last night, really. You cannot rest on your laurels. So play your own game.
Word of the week in Madrid, remontada, as outlined by Jude Bellingham yesterday. What are the positives for Carlo Ancelotti's team? Because if you're them, yes, 3-0 down, but you do look at the fact you're in this brilliant arena with these unbelievable players. They believe, don't they?
They absolutely do believe, Paul, yeah. I mean, they've scored in every home game in the Champions League since December 2018 against CSKA in Moscow. So an incredible record. But on the counter side to that, they've conceded in each of their last 10. And Arsenal, under 23 Champions League games under Mikel Arteta, have never conceded 3 goals in a single game. They've conceded 2 on 3 occasions, which was Lens and Bayern Munich last year, and PSV in that second leg when they'd already scored 7 this year in the last 16. So it's very, very difficult to imagine Arsenal conceding 3, given the fact they've got such a solid defensive record under Mikel Arteta. But, you know, given the fact Real Madrid have won 6 of the last 11 Champions Leagues, given the fact they've pulled off comeback after comeback, often after the 90th minute, let alone the full 90 minutes. They've got to be respected. But I just thought that first leg was so dominant from Arsenal. And if it wasn't for David Alaba clearing off the line, if it wasn't for Jude Bellingham clearing off the line, if it wasn't for Courtois having his best performance of the season, Arsenal could have been out of sight. It did feel like if they conceded late on in that game, it would have been very different going into this tie. But a 3-goal advantage, Arsenal should be very confident.
A word on Inter Milan against Bayern Munich. It's a bit of a closer one. The Italians leading 2-1. Just outline for us the scale of the task, really, for Vincent Kompany's side.
Yeah, really difficult task. I mean, Inter Milan, I think, are probably the sort of dark horse for this year's Champions League. I don't think they've probably got enough credit. They reached a Champions League final in 2023. They've come through 21 of their last 23 ties when winning the first leg, which is a super impressive record. And you look at the way that Lautaro Martinez took that goal against Bayern in that first game. You look at the injuries that Bayern are having to contend with at the moment as well. No Upamecano, no Musiala, their second top scorer, no Manuel Neuer in goal. Alphonso Davies, their first choice left back, is out as well. I think it's going to be very difficult for Bayern, but they do have an excellent record at the San Siro against Inter Milan. They've unbeaten in their last 4 meetings. They're winning all 4 as well. It just feels like with those injuries and with Inter Milan's momentum at the moment, I think it's going to be very difficult for them.
Do we all agree the moment of the week so far was the player reaction at Villa Park as they played the Europa League music instead of the Champions League?
Yeah, I did feel really sorry for whoever was in charge of the music, because that is a little bit embarrassing.
Whoever pressed that button.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Look, Dougie, thank you so much.
Pleasure, guys.
Always a joy, and enjoy tonight
Thank
as
you.
well.